Welcome to Snacks Weekly on Data Science. This podcast is all about making data science and machine learning knowledge accessible and less intimidating. Today, we are going to talk about customized AI for enhancing products. This episode is based on a tech blog titled How We Built AI-Powered Subtitles at Vimeo, written by their engineering team. Throughout this episode, we will dissect this topic from both business and technical angles. Now, let's dive in. On the business side, let's take a look at the problem to be solved. Vimeo is a well-known video platform that provides tools for creators, businesses, and enterprises to host, share, and monetize video content. Unlike purely social platforms, Vimeo focuses more on professional-grade use cases, things like marketing videos, training materials, and product demos. In these scenarios, videos are often meant to reach a broad and sometimes global audience. That makes subtitles incredibly important. This is not just for accessibility, but also for better customer engagement. People watch videos in noisy environments and maybe in different languages than the speaker, so subtitles help bridge all of those gaps. Now you might think that translation is already a solved problem in the era of AI, and to some extent that is true. Modern AI systems are very good at translating text, but subtitles introduce a very different kind of challenge. The key difference here is that the subtitles live on a timeline. They are not just about translating meaning. They also have to appear at exactly the right moment and stay on screen for the right duration. That creates a tension between the language and time. And this is where things get especially interesting. Different languages don't map neatly onto each other. For example, when translating from English to Japanese, the structure of the sentence can change significantly, and sometimes the translated sentence becomes shorter, sometimes longer, and often the natural phrasing doesn't align with original subtitle boundaries. So now you have a real conflict. If you focus on making the translation sound natural and fluent, you might break the timing. But if you strictly follow the original timing, the translation can feel awkward or unnatural. So the real problem Vimeo is solving here is not just about translation, but how to produce subtitles that are both linguistically correct and perfectly synchronized with video timing. And that turns out to be a much harder problem than it looks. Now that we've understood the business problem to solve, let's shift gear and dive into the technical side to see how Vimeo tackled this challenge. One of the most interesting ideas from the team is something they called a split brain architecture. So instead of forcing a single system to handle both translation and timing at the same time, they separate these concerns into different stages. The team organized the system into 3 phases. The first phase is all about context preparation. Instead of translating subtitles line by line, the system looks at a larger chunk of text. This gives the model more context about what's being said, which helps it produce more accurate and natural translations. You can think of this as giving the model the full paragraph instead of just isolated sentences, so it better understands the flow of ideas. Then it comes the core of the system, which is where the split brain idea really shows up. In the next phase, the system uses a large language model as what you can think of as a creative translator. This component focuses entirely on generating a high-quality, natural-sounding translation. Importantly, it doesn't worry about timing at all. Its only job is to produce the best possible translation given the context. After that, a separate component takes over. This is a timekeeper. Its job is to take the translated text and fit it back into the timing constraints of the video. It adjusts how the text is split across subtitle segments so that everything aligns properly with when the audio is spoken. This separation between phase 2 and 3 turns out to be very powerful. Instead of asking one model to juggle two competing goals, which is language quality and the strict timing, you let each part of the system specialize. One focuses on fluency, while the other focuses on structure and synchronization. Now with this updated system, the team observed that about 95% of text chunks performed very well after the first pass. This is a great improvement. However, it also means that around 5% of text chunks still don't go perfectly. That's why Vimeo also built in fallback logics to make the pipeline more robust. Here is how it looks like. If the initial translation and synchronization don't meet certain requirements, maybe the formatting is off or the output doesn't fit well within timing constraints, then the system can retry using a different approach with the language model. This is where we call an LLM fallback. The team gives the LLM a very specific task and asks it to try again. For example, here is one block of text. Split it into exactly n lines of words. In this case, the prompt explicitly states the semantic accuracy is not important, only the line count matters. And if that still doesn't work, the system falls back further to a more deterministic method. This is a rule-based approach that may not produce the most elegant translation, but it is predictable and reliable. For example, if there are still empty lines, the system just fills them with the last valid content. If there are too few lines, it duplicates the last valid content to pad the count. In this way, it ensures that no matter what happens, the system can still generate subtitles that fit within the required timing. From a product perspective, this is incredibly important. Users may not notice when everything works perfectly, but they will definitely notice when something breaks. These fallback mechanisms ensure that the system remains stable and dependable, which is a key requirement for any production-grade AI system. Now that we've discussed both the business problem and the technical solution, let's wrap it up. In this episode, we explored how Vimeo built a customized AI system for subtitle translation. It is one that goes beyond basic text translation to handle much harder problem of synchronizing language with time. We talked about how the team designed a split-brain architecture to separate translation quality from timing constraints, and how they built fallback mechanisms to ensure the system remains reliable in real-world scenarios. The key takeaway here is that building the right AI product requires not only a powerful model, but also the right system design to handle constraints and edge cases, so that the product itself works reliably in practice. If you like the content of this episode, please subscribe to the channel. Give me a 5-star review and leave a comment. Your feedback is very appreciated, and I'll see you next week.